There's always that moment that people have when, like, they're like, oh, there's a mic.
They drop in, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, same with, like, a camera in your face, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm feeling like you have to do
with
stuff.
that said, we've started.
Oh, you tricked us.
Yeah. You know, that's what you gotta do. You know, a little... So, boys, thank you so much. These two guys were important and influential in my New York experience.
We were talking about it on the way here, of like...
Yeah.
we were talking about, like, think about... what do you think it was? 3 years ago?
Four years ago. 2013.
2013.
Of like 4 years ago, if I was just like, yeah, in 4 years, we'll be going to Jordan's apartment with his fiance in Fort Greene to record a podcast.
I have a dog, guys.
I
have
yeah.
a dog.
This is the man who would fall asleep on his unmade twin bed with the light on, with his shoes on, with the door open.
Yeah.
After a night out.
Who in our second home that we lived in together, not the first place, of like, oh, the first one, like the second one, we're like, okay, this is something we have chosen for ourselves. You did get a bed frame at that point.
There was never a
box spring.
There was a box. So you were never on the floor. So you had a box spring and then a mattress to.
Right.
But the box spring got you off the floor.
Yeah.
But even at the second apartment, you still had all of your clothes just in a suitcase, ready to go.
Yeah.
After a year of living there.
Yeah.
If I wasn't on the lease, I was one non-lease away from just being like a crackhead.
Yes,
like,
yes, absolutely. You owed someone money and you had to leave at any moment.
Yes, it was as if you were ready for a scenario where like Sam and I come in and we just see you like slamming a suitcase shut and like no time to explain. They're coming.
I'll contact you in a week.
or that my roommates didn't know I lived there.
Yeah.
So I had to be like ready to. Yeah.
And in this there, he's like wearing a nondescript gray suit. He's De Niro in Heat. You know.
Yeah.
Classic.
So does this podcast have a name?
Yeah. So are we supposed to introduce ourselves?
No, that's usually what you got to do.
Okay.
Right? So this is Will and Sam.
This is the Jordan Files episode.
The Jordan Files. The Lost Files. Yeah. No, because that's one thing. Like on my first one, we were just talking, and then I realized people have no idea who this is.
Yeah.
Both of them have lived in New York for how long now?
I mean, we came here in 2009.
I mean, if you count, I
sort of don't fall 09, so we've been here for 8 years.
8 years. I mean, I went home that first summer, but then I've been here ever since.
Right.
They say 7 is a New Yorker, right?
They do. Well, there's all that like, what are the cutoffs until you're a New Yorker? Or like, oh, you're not a New Yorker until
this. I feel like it's. I don't think it's. As someone who, as a New Yorker, but I mean, as someone who's been here for the better part of 8 years now, I think it's less a time thing and more of a milestones thing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like, the first time you're stopped and asked for directions and actually can help someone,
right?
Or the
mugged was a good one.
Mugged was early though.
Have a friend that got mugged.
Yeah. Well, I almost got mugged. Did I ever tell you this story?
Oh yeah, it was in this neighborhood.
Yeah, it was on our back to Emerson.
Okay.
I was walking back home from a rehearsal because the bus just was not coming. And I was like, I'm just gonna walk. And I was walking for a while, but I was doing that stretch from the G stop to Myrtle Avenue.
And that's Classen.
On Classen. On Classen. This a walk I've done countless times. And this is at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
My food may be here.
Oh
yeah?
Go ahead.
Why should we stop for the food to come?
I got beer, I think.
Oh.
Nope, false alarm. The food's like an hour late.
I did hear. I heard various pounding somewhere.
Yeah,
that's gonna make it in.
It's all part.
Yeah, don't edit any of this.
Yeah,
no, I don't edit. Why'd do that?
So I'm walking, probably like 2:30 actually.
Okay.
Back to our apartment. I don't think you might have. I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
And they have no idea who you guys are yet.
No. He'll introduce us in a minute.
Yeah. Hey, said Will and Sam.
Maybe they want you to be mugged.
Right?
Why would some stranger be like,
asshole?
I want to keep listening to Will and Sam.
So I have my my headphones in, doing my thing.
Always do. Always have them in.
Yeah. And I'm on class in between Myrtle and Willoughby.
Okay.
And a 16-year-old kid on a bike comes and stops right in front of me. And I go, oh, oops. Sorry, didn't mean to get in your way. Let me walk around you.
Let me pause my podcast.
Yeah, and he backed up to block me. and I like turn around and I see a friend of his standing. Oh, I think they're trying to mug me right now. But again, this is at 2:00 in the afternoon, right by Myrtle Avenue, like a major thoroughfare.
And how did it end? Like...
So there were like cars stopped at the stoplight. So I just walked through the cars across the street.
Bike couldn't follow that.
Quickly into the frame. You know that frame shop on on
Myrtle.
On
Myrtle. You met it. Didn't someone meet someone that went to the frame shop? Or no? The owner.
I got things framed there one time, and the owner is just like this nice older woman, and she's very sweet, and I enjoyed the frame job that she did for me, and so I was like, this is a safe place. I walk in very quickly, and the kids just like bike away.
Yeah, you defeated them. Right.
And my fight response really kicked in, and it was a flight. And but you don't always need to fight.
When he pretended to mug me, I did fight.
Oh yeah, I told you I did that to Jordan.
No,
This was one of the most I could have gotten my fucking teeth knocked out.
Yeah,
Jordan was in the Metropolitan Station. Mm-hmm. Between we transfer from the G to the L.
Yeah.
We're just giving all this insider Brooklyn talk.
Once again, no idea what y'all's background is.
No. Yeah. Why should they? I hope this is only listened to by people outside of Brooklyn who don't have any frame of reference for these places. So, and I see Jordan ahead of me.
Yeah. The frame shop.
I see Jordan ahead of me in the crowd, and I decided it's going to be really funny to like come up behind him and like grab him real hard and put my like hand into his ribs and tell him to give me his fucking money. The look on his face when he turned around, he was ready to fight.
Yeah.
Like he was, if he didn't get a good look at my face, I think he would have like thrown an elbow hard into my face.
Yeah.
'Cause like as any New Yorker is ready to fight for their life at any moment.
Right. The fight and run.
And
that's the mindset.
I pretended to be a mugger, and I don't think that was something I should really keep doing.
Yeah, is that a good joke to play on a friend?
So hey everyone, I'm Will Sarratt.
It's like
grew up in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Yeah, you know what? It's gonna be like, I just don't want him to see me. I'm acting like I'm gonna stab him.
You know how you do that thing to a friend where you make them think they're about to get stabbed
in a subway,
in a public area.
What did you notice other people's reactions around you when you did it?
I didn't do it loud. I did it like right in his ear.
And then he goes, whoa, like that.
Yeah. It was fast enough that we didn't make a scene.
And then I just like died laughing.
But it was in his eyes. When he turned around, like he was ready.
My favorite you and Jordan in the subway story is when you were on the G train going back home. And I think it was after you were living with us. Was it? No.
Yeah.
It was you were still living with us.
Yeah.
It was when you had got too much water in your laptop. You tried soaking it in rice. And Will, you were just on the train, right?
I don't have this right. This isn't what happened, but the way I remember it is like I was on the train, Jordan was on the platform. They timed out perfectly of that. My car pulls right up to him, the door opens, and I see Jordan like holding his laptop above his head.
What happened?
I was like, Jordan, like the door opened, I don't get off the train. I'm just like, what are you doing? And he's like, I dropped my water on my computer, and like the door shut and the train leaves. Like that can't be what happened, but that's my memory.
That's what it
So it probably looked like something from Zoolander, where it was just like the
files
are in the computer.
Yeah.
Because I remember like trying to get the rice out of the thing.
Yes. Of like he was actively shaking rice out of his laptop on the train platform,
right? But didn't get on the train.
Yeah. Like we didn't then journey together. Like that's what I remember. Is that like
we
were doing our own thing, and then I left. So what do you need from us?
Because basically, I want kind of the gist of what I want is kind of a Humans of New York thing, except Humans of Jordan's life. Basically.
Sure.
So,
the people that you come into your life at some point,
right? And so like the tagline will be like actors trying to be an actor in New York, kind of would be from your point of reference, kind of, or whatever. And I make the title after we have the conversation. It could be like, this is the disaster artist episode. Who knows where it goes. But anyway, like, so you went to NYU, both of you. That's how y'all met, right?
So I'm Will. This is Sam.
I'm Sam Garber. That's my last name. I haven't said that yet.
Garber.
Samuel Lewis Garber.
I don't think we're here to tell our
life story.
No,
you don't want the life story. Just background, like where y'all are coming from, because that's the one thing I realized when I first started doing interviews. It's like, oh, this is why they interview famous people, because there's already context.
Right, people already know them, sort of.
Right,
or...
so like you listen in to hear what Brad Pitt has done,
Right,
so that's it. So this is coming from...
Most of theoretically, the people who are listening to this have...
I'm gonna... Not theoretically, literally, everyone who listens to this will have no idea who you and I are.
If my mom listens to this, she'll know exactly who I am. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Hey, I watched this guy on stage for 18 hours.
That's true. That's a really good point.
One show.
Yeah.
Not all at once.
No, over 3 separate nights.
Cumulatively.
Nights.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. But yeah, I mean, we're both actors.
Sure.
We came to New York in 2009 for NYU.
Yes.
Because we graduated from high school in 2009.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You're right.
Wow.
Good math.
What a time.
Oh, no.
The late aughts.
Yeah. And I mean, we're actors. We're semi-regularly in things.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. There, it ebbs and flows in terms of my confidence and being able to tell people that I am an actor who gets paid to be in things.
You were in a commercial
Yeah,
lately, right?
yeah. Of like, here's where Sam and I are right now. Sam's in a show.
Yeah.
Sam's doing a play.
Yeah.
And I just had my first commercial air, currently in circulation. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of where we are.
Yeah.
Was that national?
Yeah, dude, it was that national commercial money.
We saw it. We went to O'Hanlon's and we saw
We
it.
were at O'Hanlon's and we were like, hey!
No, I love that in the commercial, he's the one guy that like didn't try to pay for it. He did the classic like,
I was the
I
one.
don't know where my wallet is.
no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
The breakdown listed me as broke-ass fool.
Yeah, but don't worry, Visa Pay or whatever.
Yeah, no, it's a commercial for Visa and Starbucks where it's a series of vignettes where people are like, oh, trying to pay for each other's coffees,
right.
And then somebody ends up paying with their like Visa-enabled tech of like, oh, a mother and daughter, and the daughter swipes her phone and it's paid, and then there's me. I am a millennial guy on date.
Oh, was that the actual name of the breakdown?
Yes, millennial guy on date. And,
At a Starbucks?
Yeah.
Oh boy, you are a cheap.
I wish it was a stranger.
Hey, now.
I wish a person felt so bad for this guy that a stranger.
And so
Yeah.
me and this nice young lady are ostensibly on a date.
Yeah.
And I pull out my clumsy old wallet to pay with my old-fashioned greenbacks. And she just swipes her watch and pays for it.
There you go. So, watch. It was a watch?
Yeah, it's her smartwatch that has the Visa app.
I don't know. What did you
will-
have to do for the audition? That's a good question.
The answer might be this makes a much bigger deal out of. Oh yeah, keep the phone rings.
Here's the food.
Now the food's here.
Hey, take your call.
Nothing. No, we gotta let him in.
Oh,
Hey,
the front door
we got
called your
beer.
phone.
Oh, you got it on your phone. Look at you.
We're not
Mr.
editing
Fancy
anything.
Man.
No, we don't edit.
I was
here.
gonna say though,
We want
of like
raw.
this makes a bigger deal out of me, the ad, and the number of people that might hear this. I actually am probably not supposed to talk about a lot of it.
Okay.
Not that
Fair
there's
enough.
any secret, but just a general non-disclosure. Don't talk about.
Fair enough. What the process was,
And it probably doesn't cover this. I can
Right.
probably talk about all of this,
right.
but maybe shouldn't a ton of like I can say like I auditioned, I submitted a tape from here,
Fair.
And then I went down to North Carolina for the callback.
Oh, I understand. I get why. I
Yeah.
get why. Yeah. Okay.
Went down to North Carolina for the callback, and I got it.
Nice.
And but it is definitely. It's like we went to NYU for 4 years, had classical training, theater training, a lot of Shakespeare. I was in a play this year that was a 2-man show that's 90 minutes of an original play, and like this will be the thing that the most people have seen.
Right.
And you're on screen for all of 3 seconds, maybe?
I counted it, it's 2.
2 seconds. He hit the stopwatch.
Which and will be the best. I think it's okay for me to say that it's by far obviously the best paying gig.
Without a doubt.
Visa and Starbucks treated me good.
We can now have a beer round.
Oh, great.
Yeah, sorry for the delay, guys. We got the dog barking, but now we got beer.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
Yeah, what food you get?
Like chicken and rice.
Yeah.
As you do.
Well, that's a thing also about commercials in general is you're not supposed to put them on your resume because that could be you put commercials reference. You're like, right?
Oh boy, I
think
this is something that I have not thought about, so I should maybe actually look into that.
Because that is a conflict of interest thing. Like there was this one guy. You know that guy who was like the PS3 guy for the really, 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 really long time?
Yeah.
That was like the PS3 spokesperson.
That dude who's not Jim Gaffigan.
Yeah, exactly. And then he was in a Wii commercial. And Sony sued him because he was being the spokesperson for two different things.
Okay, that's just like... But you have to tell people that.
Right, it's his fault.
Yeah, it's 100% his fault. Like, I'm not going to go out and do like a MasterCard and Dunkin' Donuts commercial. Like, I'll tell them that I just did Visa and Starbucks. Right,
you have to disclose that.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, I don't think there's anything I actually couldn't say, but...
Your next round.
Better to err on the side of caution.
I should probably wait until I'm a little bit more successful to openly talk about behind-the-scenes thing on jobs I did.
Watch you be on the rise, and somehow this podcast goes viral.
Yeah,
and then you tank, and I'm like,
the producers.
Him.
Yeah.
Before I actually do a lot better in my career, the producers of this commercial hear this and are like, "We're blacklisting this guy forever."
No, because that it kind of brings up a funny point of like when I was saying to do this, it's amazing how many people immediately go to like, oh, well, what's your angle of the podcast? Blah, blah.
Yeah.
Rather than like, how about you just do something first, rather than be like, this is my target audience. You know, like this is
It's also interesting, like what you feel comfortable talking about together, and then talking about together when there's a microphone in front of you too.
Yeah. No, but it's fun. But I try to make it as natural as possible.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, because it was funny because I've talked to people that I know a lot, and then I've talked to people like I met like twice, you know, and so it's you try to just keep a conversation and keep it going. Anyway, so congrats on the commercial.
Thanks, man. Thanks. I mean, my parents were thrilled.
That's awesome.
But it is that thing of just like I did 3 original plays this year, which I did a lot of stage time in. Sam and I have made our own web series that we produced on our own.
Is it about struggling artists
and all that?
No,
but
it isn't.
No, it's not.
No, it isn't.
It is not.
It's not the classic NYU student like,
what if we just filmed ourselves?
Yeah.
I can shit on that at this point.
Yeah,
people
right.
who do
Is it
that.
allowed?
Yeah,
Don't do that. But
2 seasons of that, by the way.
But my
too.
parents are the most thrilled by, and this is not me actually complaining. They're very sweet,
right.
But like the commercial is the thing that everybody's very excited about.
Because it's also the thing that you can show family members and be like, go on YouTube, look at the commercial that Will is in. You know what I mean?
Well, and it's that funny thing for parents. It's like they want to kind of show off their kids.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
of course.
they can't tell them that they're in this original play.
Yes,
you know,
right. and to all of their credit, and
Yeah.
to like keep myself in check of like, oh, it's 100% the most legit thing I've ever done.
Right.
Of like, I've loved the plays I've been in and the web series we made, but like, this is way more official and legit.
Yeah.
But the actual work of it is
But
hilarious.
it's
you know,
the smallest modicum of work that you've done.
Yes, I look at a wallet, look at the barista, and go, hold on a second.
But that's it though, because you never know what the thing is.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
you never.
That's the same thing with when I was in the Mysteries. We were reviewed by the New York Times, and we had like a nice big photo in the middle of the art section, and like half of my body was in it, and I was shirtless, and you could see like part of my nipple. Yeah. And my mom went around her office showing me off.
This is me.
That's my son.
Yeah.
Half of his body, and they're like,
right.
Which one is he? Because there was like 20 people in the photo, but it was worth it for her.
And I think Will, you talked about kind of when you got that big play right out of college.
Yeah.
And you said like you didn't really realize what you had gotten.
Well, I make this.
Right?
Well, I feel like I make this joke to Sam and I have talked about everyght this point at least 4 times.
Sure.
So I don't need to preface that we've talked about this before.
Is it the beard story?
No. But just like the number of times that I have thought like, oh, this is going to be a huge deal, and it's like you say big show to college, like. It was. I loved it. It was good people, and it was a really fun experience.
Yeah.
And it was like, to our credit, it was the first official New York production of
a Tennessee
Williams play.
Yeah.
But also, like, it was a show at the Flea.
Right.
The Flea does X number of shows a year and is one of many wonderful companies.
Yeah.
But like in my head, I was like, right out of college, like I booked this great thing.
Yeah.
And it was. I mean, it was great. But like with New York Times, we got a bad review in the New York Times. Charles Isherwood did not care for it.
And you don't remember that, you know? Yeah. No.
I think he did not mention me in the review, which I think was a kindness upon realizing that it was my first credit out of school. Yeah.
Yeah, but again, I remember seeing the review in the Times and being very excited that my friend's show was reviewed in the Times.
Right.
Like I
Right,
held on to it and like showed it to my coworker, and he was like, "Yeah, but it's a bad review." And I was like,
We're like, but we're in the Times.
It's in the Times.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very disaster artist-esque.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Why we keep talking about it, Sam and I just saw.
Yeah, we just came from a disaster artist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I don't know when this podcast is going to come out, but it just came out last weekend. So.
Yeah, it'll come out like in 6 months.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, you mean the movie that swept the Academy Awards this year?
yeah. Best picture, best writer.
Or it's
Dude, is there any way to give that guy an Oscar? Could he fit in any of the
because
original
Tommy Wiseau?
He's not
credited anywhere.
He's not credited. He's not a producer. He's not anything.
He's not credited at all. He's
No.
got to be
But
credited somewhere.
what for?
Yeah, he didn't write the book.
Being
that
the
it's based
subject?
on.
Oh, think about that award.
They
Acceptance.
didn't give they didn't give Ray Charles an Oscar for
for
Jamie
Jamie
Foxx's performance. You know,
Yeah.
Wasn't he dead by then?
He had just died.
he had just died. Yeah.
It's a little...
I mean, Greg could potentially maybe get a writing.
No, because he didn't.
He didn't write the screenplay.
There were two credited screenwriters.
Yeah.
and he was neither of them.
Yeah.
The same thing. Like Michael Lewis doesn't get an award when Moneyball wins something.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Unless they're involved in it.
Right.
Unless they...
But usually, you're
Which-
right. That's
Right,
true.
right, 'cause,
Like Gillian Flynn, who wrote Gone Girl, also wrote the screenplay for Gone Girl. But that,
Right. But that's not.
Greg Sestero didn't write the screenplay.
Yeah.
He wrote the book.
Have y'all seen that? And we'll get back to Disaster Artist because I'm interested in it. But now that I'm thinking it, Jim and Andy, the one on Netflix.
I haven't
with
seen
Jim
it yet.
Carrey.
I'm curious.
You guys
No,
seen
I
it?
haven't.
We've seen the trailers.
Yeah,
before,
yeah,
obviously,
yeah.
but-
Just because I don't think I've even seen the
Man in the Moon.
Man in the Moon. Have you? I mean,
It's good. I mean, it's
in a long time.
It's a good movie. I'm not surprised that the behind the scenes stuff seems intense. Of like,
Yeah.
you can tell that Jim Carrey was doing like an intense
He did-
stuff.
he-
in that, like,
yeah,
there's
cared.
and not just that in that it's good. Like, there's something about it that is a little crazy. Like, there's something about the movie that feels weirdly dark and like a little out of control.
But the studio didn't let them, because so Jim Carrey, like after it was filmed and stuff, wanted some of the behind the scene footage to be aired,
Yeah.
and the studio decided not to do it because people would think he's an asshole.
Because he comes off like an asshole.
right,
yeah.
right. But like, just in watching it, it's such an amazing like method performance. You know, like kind of Daniel Day-Lewis-esque. That I think the movie was so simply made. They wanted like a nice story with it. That like it didn't get it missed the grit that it could have gotten with the behind. I highly recommend. It's crazy. It's nuts.
Have you not? So you've seen that, but you haven't seen.
I haven't seen the Man on the Moon. No.
Check it out.
Yeah.
You'll like it.
Usually people did in the other order, but
Yeah.
Disaster Artist though. So what thoughts? So the premise of it is crazy.
I mean,
right?
it's the sort of telling of the making of cult classic The Room.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's a.
Have you seen The Room?
I have.
Yeah.
I've seen
It's
The
terrible.
Room. I mean, it is a masterpiece in what not to do when making a film.
I mean, it's
Is-
this has been said by many people before, but
Yeah.
like, it is a shocking, once in a lifetime culmination of like, you would think that a movie couldn't do everything wrong.
Yeah.
Of like, something would have to
And they didn't try to.
No.
That's the thing. If they tried to be the worst movie ever, they couldn't
No,
do
this
it.
is this is a passion
A
project
group of
with
people-
a capital P.
a group of people, more or less, until they gave up,
Right.
trying their best.
Yeah.
And-
An auteur with the worst, most deranged vision possible, with the money to make the movie that he wants to make.
But the Disaster Artist is so interesting because you get a sense of the kinds of movies that Tommy Wiseau had watched, and it makes so much sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fact that he liked Hitchcock movies
Yeah.
and James Dean movies.
Yeah. And Tennessee Williams plays.
And Tennessee Williams plays, it's like, oh, yeah, that The Room is a movie made by somebody who has seen those three things and nothing else.
Yeah.
and like has
and also
all the money.
Never made a movie before.
Where does he get his money?
We apparently it's outlined in the book more
so. He
well, no, because
one of the commercial space, right, or something like that.
That's what I mean. I don't. The answer is I don't know. Okay. A friend just told me this. The friend that we saw it with had read the book, and apparently the book more so is like Tommy Wiseau owned real estate.
Right. Yeah. No. And he like became
like on the boardwalk in San Francisco. I might be wrong. This is third-hand.
I remember reading it now. I remember reading that now because I was wondering that.
But yeah, I mean, he had to have had millions of dollars.
I mean, it's an entirely self-financed movie made in 2002 for $6 million.
Yeah, and it's crazy. I mean, it's.
Did y'all see the interview where he had revealed that he was once from Europe and James Franco didn't know that? It was like he was like, you never told me that, Tommy, because everyone said he was from New Orleans,
right?
I mean,
that's the joke. I mean,
he's not. I'm like,
it is so obviously not from New Orleans.
He's not. But the movie makes a very big thing of like that Tommy keeps up this lie of that he's from New Orleans and never admits that he is very obviously from Eastern Europe. So.
But it was good. But worth seeing.
Oh, it's great, and it's a great.
It's both, I think, an interesting look at the weird people, as you said, the weird people you meet in your life. You know.
Yeah.
But also a loving homage to this movie that has meant so much to so many people.
Yeah, and you know, if we're gonna have any sort of theme about guest Sam and Will, I'm like, I thought it was a good look at being an actor, and
sure.
And it was this like it felt like this horror story of if you ended up in this like crazily well financed, self-produced project of like, oh yep, that's what it would like. That's what it's like to rent equipment and have mediocre studio space,
right?
And like actors who really are just like looking for work and anything that will be a breakthrough, and like everybody tells you that you're supposed to produce your own work because the odds of just like doing it the traditional way are so slim. I thought it was a painful look at that world.
And it's an interesting time to release it now, because in the age of YouTube, where there's so much self-created stuff. This is before that,
right?
You know, like
it became a cult sensation kind of before before YouTube became a thing, and and I think a lot of that, like I remember I first watched it when my freshman year roommate showed it to me and was like, I own this DVD, you have to watch it, you have to.
And it's our generation's like bad movie of like bad movies have become such a cultural thing, especially with podcasts, but like it's not a new thing. Like 80s and 70s movies were also bad.
There have been like
these mystery science
horror films,
of like mystery science theater.
Right, has been making fun of schlocky B movies for years and years and years.
Yeah, but for people that are our age, The Room is that.
Yeah,
right, exactly.
Because there's such a wonderful like culture around it, and all these like the Rocky Horror Picture Show, like things you do when you go see a midnight screening of it, and
I'm sure coming up as actors in New York and studying, you've seen a lot of projects that you're in the middle of them, and you're like, this is bad. Like I'm sure, like you were like, or you look at them, and we talked about the the classic. I'm a struggling New York actor, you know, web series, you know, and it's like, you know, that type of thing. But
I mean, nothing of that proportions, and that's why it is like it's an almost painful. The Disaster Artist is almost painful to watch because it's like it is the absolute worst nightmare of the bad production.
Did he ever make another movie?
Yeah,
yes.
They made a movie together again this year called like Best Friends, I think.
Yeah, they've got a new movie coming out.
Yeah, don't tell me what, or don't ask me what it's about because I have no idea. But
I think Tommy Wiseau plays a mortician, like an ancient immortal mortician or something like that.
That's more,
and I know that because like Greg Sestero has some quote where he's like, "It's the perfect role for Tommy."
Yeah,
like
right.
a 100-year-old mortician is the perfect role for Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah.
And he lies about his age, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
yeah, like,
he
or
just
he
keeps
like-
saying he's the same age.
Or he like obfuscates it and like he just doesn't give anyone a straight answer
Yeah.
when asked.
Well, no, I think I want to see it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fun time at the movies.
Yeah, we got two solid three movie recommendations at this point in this podcast. Man on the Moon, Jim and Andy,
Yeah.
Oh, and Disaster. Yeah.
and Disaster
yeah.
Artist.
I'm trying to think what I've seen. You'll sell Get Out, right?
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah.
You said it's great.
Dude, I mean,
Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I think Get Out is one of the best movies of the year, and
Sure.
same. I'd
He
say
could win awards, right? Yeah.
I hope so.
I think it'll be nominated for some stuff. Yeah.
Have you heard Allison Williams' interview that she keeps saying that white people always want to believe that she was hypnotized in it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and she's like, "No, I was evil."
Oh come on.
Like,
Oh boy.
Are white people who are watching Get Out that like tone deaf to it to make the effort to go see the movie, see it all the way through, and your takeaway is like,
I hope that
She
nice
didn't-
white girl.
she didn't mean it.
Trump's president. All right.
Yeah.
I mean,
but like those people didn't go see Get Out.
Some of them did.
Some of
Some of them
did.
must have.
I mean, guys, Roy Moore may get elected.
I think he will.
Yeah. I think
It's
so, too.
like this is the ultimate kind of reveal.
I mean, we can, if we want to do the politics thing, we can talk about our shared history, the three of us, with
Sure.
our nightmare apocalypse that we found ourselves in.
We're really dating ourselves on this podcast.
I am.
aren't we?
Yeah, we're putting a time stamp.
That's fine. That's beautiful. Let's just go with it.
It gives the
That's where
pressure
the
for
conversation's going.
it's the pressure that means that Jordan actually has to put it out before it becomes too dated.
Yeah. Right. Like 2 years from now, this
Trump.
comes out.
So, guys, Trump was impeached.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
not
this,
impeached yet.
and maybe it will down the road of
Yeah.
I think that I'm not as confident that Roy Moore will get elected. I think there's a strong chance he will.
Yeah.
I think there's a slim chance that Trump gets impeached.
Mm-hmm.
And so like my point being of like I don't hold a lot of hope anymore.
Right.
Of like I think good things. This sounds so bleak, but like I think the good things are possible. I'm not totally dark on it, but like after the election, I don't trust polls. I don't trust the expert thing. I don't trust the the polls are showing and the scientists and the numbers are showing that like Roy Moore will lose, that the Democrats will sweep in 2018, that we're closing in on this impeachment. And just like, yeah, well, I mean, 538 had like a 85% chance that Hillary was going to win. I thought there was no chance now. And so like our shared history on this, when Jordan, Sam, and I were living together, Jordan, during the primaries, you thought, you first were like, Trump will get the nomination.
Yeah, no, I saw it.
And Sam, what was our response?
Sam was mad.
Fuck off.
Sam literally said, "Fuck you, Jordan." Like,
Yeah,
be quiet. Like, no, like he didn't even want to.
We thought you had no clue what you were talking about.
Yeah, and I love it because I actually sent a Facebook message to my mom. I sent a video and I said, "Holy crap, he is gonna win." I thought that I didn't think he was going to win the election. I mean, I really didn't, but
yeah, but you thought early. You thought early he
Yeah.
was going to get the nomination, and Sam and I were like, no, it's Jeb Bush or whichever loser has the unfortunate job of going up against Hillary Clinton.
He was just the perfect blend of like. Now looking back, and I'm not sure if you heard the podcast. I think it was This American Life, where they kind of show the facade of Trump that The Apprentice created.
Oh,
It's
are we
nuts.
talking about This American Life?
Yeah, maybe.
I listen to it every week,
The
and
music, always the themed music that they have. That's like always
Yeah.
with it. Yeah. But like basically, there's this podcast about how The Apprentice basically created Trump, and it's all bullshit. And his agent told Trump not to do it because he knew the actual real stuff, like that his like private plane was shitty and everything. You know, like it was scared for his brand to do it. But
Right.
obviously, you know the brilliance.
Here we are.
Yeah, of NBC, right? But no, he was just the perfect candidate of like he never apologized, which was the George Bush, and he had this appearance of success, so he could do the Mitt Romney,
Yeah.
and you blend it together. Mitt Romney was too nice. And
well,
you know, no,
so
but,
yes, sure,
no,
something
but he
like
was.
that.
He like didn't have the that southern backbone, that they go after, like that George Bush had, and it was just like there's going to be enough smart Republicans, and they're out there, intellectual Republicans, that say, okay, this is a shakeup of the system for him to win the Republican nomination. Now, I thought that once he was on TV enough, that it would kind of reveal itself, which I thought it did, but...
We kept thinking.
Wait, can I tell you something scary I did last night? Was that I started looking up, like, comparing Hitler to Trump videos.
Yeah.
They were all made, like, November 1st, 2016. Like, kind of, like, jokingly.
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff about all that, and it's all, like, it's lockstep.
But we just gotta be mindful of it, because this is exactly the type of, like, frog in the pot method that Hitler did. Of, like, you slowly in there, and I don't think he's gonna be impeached because there's 51 Republican senators.
I mean, that's this podcast is taking a real upbeat turn.
Yeah.
Of like,
go where it goes. Yeah.
I do have some remaining hope, and it's a low bar. I think we have cleared the bar of that. I don't actually think, and I'm getting nervous as I say it, I don't actually think that an ethnic genocide is possible in America now. I don't think it. I'm not going to bet the house on it anymore.
He's not going to bet the house.
I would have before, and now maybe. But I don't think so.
It may not be and that's the thing. It doesn't have to go as far as genocide. Like, it's just the rise of power based off making people inferior.
Yeah.
Which is what he's doing.
Yeah.
And that
it's all there.
It's we already have a crazy justice system that's already in place, and and he's doing the Muslim, touting that kind of tune, but we'll see. I mean, I hope, but
I mean, the parallels are certainly
scary
there, and I don't mean to say that to like delegitimize or defang any of what he's doing or any of what's happening, because it's absolutely all there. Mm-hmm. I do remain some hope that we wouldn't actually do the worst thing in modern history again.
Yeah, right.
So from the one Jewish, from the one Jewish guy in the room. Yeah. What are your thoughts? Because Sam, you were like, because I'll never forget. I actually remember the conversation because I was sitting in the chair in Emerson on the computer. I'm like, holy shit, guys! Trump is gonna win the nomination. And Sam and Will goes, come on, and Sam goes, fuck you, Jordan. Fuck you. Get out of the house, basically. Thoughts now? From San Francisco. Sam's from San Francisco originally. And,
I don't know anymore. It is completely shaken my core beliefs in like what is possible. Mm-hmm. And so, similarly, I just kind of don't trust anything anymore, which is very sad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's how it feels.
Yeah.
And I know that, like, I think we probably sound... we have had the fortune and privilege and all of that to spend the first 25 years of our life just believing, like, oh, these types of shitty things don't just happen to be, like... other people were a little less surprised. Mm-hmm. And we had a, like, white suburban experience that let us, like...
to do what you want to do and go after what
and
you
go
want
like,
to do.
oh no, America's full of great people that would never do this awful thing.
Right.
And now that sort of rosy-eyed kind of thing has faded a little bit.
These tax cuts. Crazy. Like,
or reducing the federal. You see, reducing the federal land, the national monuments. In Utah.
Did you see Patagonia came?
I saw the headlines, but of course, like, I can't fucking stomach it.
It's like every single thing. The net neutrality. It is like a murderer's row of awful things that are happening that you think it's like a joke, but it isn't, because it's a reality.
He's going after. Like, that's the thing. He's like, yes, there's no. And that was a scary thing, like, in watching videos November 1st, 2016, like, where it was still kind of a, he's kind of like Hitler because they didn't think he was going to win. Mm-hmm. But, like, people didn't believe Hitler was going to do what he was doing either. Yeah. And so, like, yes, this guy has said what he's going to do. He's playing to the billionaires, and he's doing, hopefully, non-irreversible things, but, like,
Yeah.
I mean, I hope the biggest thing is we can't give up as people, I think. I mean, that's, we need to vote in 2018, in the midterms and and go, I mean, that's it. Like, we can't just give in and, if he's supposed to be impeached, I hope that the justice system steps in and that he correctly gets impeached.
Well, and for all this too, like, for all the evil shit they're doing, like, it's not going well. Like, they're bad at doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, we're, so again, timestamp.
Yeah.
Of that, like
12/5/2017.
The tax bill has gotten this far, but like they've fucked up easier things to get across the goal line.
Yeah.
So like for evil dictators, they're surprisingly bad at it.
Yeah, and I hope.
So I hope that will continue. I don't have 100% faith that it will. Of like I think we all are at a place where it's like. Just terrified of what the other shoe dropping is going to be.
Yeah, and it's weird being in New York during it too, because I think like during the whole election it was such a bubble. Speaking about New York, in that like just kind of everybody's kind of in this liberal place, and ironically where Trump is from, and it just kind of like hit us like a frying pan.
Yeah,
everything happened, but. Yeah, alright, well, next subject.
So that's that, like, charming, uplifting.
Fantasy football, how's it going, guys?
Hey, we're both in the playoffs.
Sam and I made playoffs. So that's
by
good.
Sam
made it by the skin of his teeth.
Some context, I hope at this point you understand who these guys are, but they may have...
Yeah, we've given...
a bleak cut.
Yeah.
Will was in a commercial once.
Yeah, right.
But they have one of the greatest fantasy football leagues known to mankind. It is passionate. I'm always on the outskirts looking in, basically. I'm always like, if there was 10 teams before and I was the 11th, and there was 12 teams, I became the 13th member. And, not bitter at all.
Yeah.
I only went to Hinland so many times.
I mean, Sam and I, we have a fantasy football league from college. as much fantasy as many fantasy football leagues are. This is, I mean, it's chiefly in a way that helps us keep in touch with our friends who have moved out to the West Coast.
Absolutely.
But I mean, it's I want to be closer to the mic, but it's different. It's
well, yeah. I mean,
because there's a passion there. Like,
well, yeah, we have a week. We have
a weekly newsletter.
We have a weekly.
No, you don't.
Yeah,
we know this.
Yeah.
For who? Peter writes it.
No, our friend Michael. I don't know if you've met him. Michael lives in Seattle. Writes it every week, and it's a recap of
Michael.
How would you have met Michael? He hasn't been here.
You've never met Michael.
What's his name?
Robinson.
Are we giving first last names?
I know Michael Robinson.
How would you know Michael Robinson?
He's never been here.
You've never.
I don't think he's come to New York since you've lived with us.
I haven't met Michael Robinson.
I don't think.
No,
you did.
He stayed at the 329 East 13th.
That can't have happened.
No.
Who stayed there then? Who am I thinking of?
I don't know, but not Michael.
Know. One of the homeless people that we let crash on their couch.
Yeah.
That wasn't me.
No, yeah, he writes weekly recaps of all our games.
They're amazing.
It's incredible.
We've got a newsletter. Michael writes the newsletter. He's a very good writer.
He's a very good writer.
And every now and then during the season, we'll make a point to be like, Michael, this is like a very funny joke and all, but like also keep writing, man.
Yeah,
like, you have a really strong voice.
Yeah, like do this for more than 12 people.
Yeah,
or a circulation of 11. You know.
I think I know Michael Robinson.
We are passionate. The trophy has fallen by the wayside.
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh,
sad.
Because
I mean, the downside was making a trophy that was in fact very large, and then it was difficult to ship back.
Right.
Has my name on it though.
It's got your name on it. Should have my name on it, but it doesn't.
After the snail years, which I was a part of.
Yeah.
So the beauty of the league is that I think sometimes what happens with fantasy football leagues is people start losing and they give up. But the beauty of their league is they have the snail. So
which is taken from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Right.
And the it's not specific to Charlie McDennis.
No, it's not at all.
It's not at all.
But it's with Charlie McDennis.
It's incorporated into Charlie McDennis for salting this.
No, salting the snail is just their cousin, right? That they salt.
Yeah, but we do it in Charlie McDennis.
We do it in Charlie McDennis. They don't do it in Charlie McDennis.
Sure. So it's the snail. We adopted it as our sort of last place marker.
Yeah, and the person who comes in last place then has to do a punishment during the off season.
Yeah.
So I was the snail 2 years in a row.
Were you?
So I had to move. So
no, you can't have been.
Yes,
I was.
Yes.
But you only did one punishment.
I know, because the first time we just didn't do anything.
The first time we didn't have snail
Because
punishments.
we were brainstorming.
Yeah. We were so because it was still a thing that we were dealing with. Because I wasn't the first person to be in last place.
They sent him the salt though. The first time, and the second time he had to be vegan.
I was vegan for a month.
Yeah.
But for the first few years, we just didn't have a concept.
We just emotionally and morally abused each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Or we didn't care enough. Or we started laying the ground for these traditions and rituals.
Yeah.
That finally were codified in the snail and the trophy and all this stuff.
And the trophy and the newsletter. And
right.
Yeah.
And
Photoshops.
But Sam and I have both made playoffs this year, so
we're good.
So
fingers crossed.
All is okay.
I mean, I don't like. I've won. We both now won the league once.
Yeah.
You did.
I won it this most recent year.
Why isn't it on the? Why is it on the trophy?
Because the trophy's in limbo.
The trophy's somewhere in Los Angeles.
Did you win last year?
Yeah. My team was fucking good.
But so now that I've won once, and I've tasted the sweetness of victory and the pain of defeat.
I've met Michael Robinson.
Jordan pulled up Facebook. He's this really is just a conversation because there's no theme, there's no point. We're just talking about our own bullshit.
I definitely met Michael Robinson.
He's
assholes.
Jordan is friends with him on Facebook.
I know Michael.
When would you have met him?
Michael, if you're listening, write in and tell us how you met Jordan.
I know Michael Robinson.
Into the.
I can't believe that you don't like. Yeah,
right into the show's email.
We had great conversations.
What the fuck are you talking about? You had great conversation.
Yes.
What did you talk about?
He stayed on our couch. He stayed on our couch.
When did he stay on our couch?
In 329 East 13th Street. He was on our couch.
So
you guys were playing that stupid...
Apartment 2A.
2A. You gotta be quiet in there. Be careful. He stayed on our couch and y'all were playing that stupid the motorcycle game.
Oh, right. Okay.
Oh, fuck. He's right.
All right. You're right.
Oh, Jordan's right.
That was probably before Michael lived in Seattle.
He was living in D.C.
When he lived in D.C.
Right, because he lived in D.C. and he came down to see the mysteries and just be in New York for a week and stuff. And
Michael, we're sorry.
Sorry, Michael. Don't write in.
You
don't
know,
Michael.
You do know Jordan.
Michael, scrap, delete draft. Don't write in.
Facebook has...
Don't save it. Don't save the draft.
Don't send your letter to 329 East 13th Street, Apartment 2A.
Jordan did not catfish you. Yeah. There you go.
The people downstairs.
I like that when we're talking to Michael, we direct it to the mic.
We get closer, it's going to get distorted. Yeah.
Michael. We're pulling him aside. Yeah. All the other listeners just hit mute for a second.
Yeah, everyone else just take out your earbuds. Michael.
Michael, just you and me.
Your new beard looks great. You never had a beard in college, really. You had some scruff, which always looked great, but the beard looks good too.
Beard looks really good. Love your playoff video.
Michael did Romeo and Juliet. Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, he did. Man, he does. He knows Michael.
I talked to him. I'll have your.
Michael works at Trader Joe's now.
Of course he does. That's perfect for Michael. It's perfect.
This podcast is sponsored by Trader Joe's, right?
Trader Joe's. I come up with different sponsors every day. When I did it with Sylvia, she introduced herself as I'm PMSing, and she ate chocolate chip cookies and milk. And so I said, we're brought by Tate's Cookies.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
So now we've got Trader Joe's and Brooklyn Brewery.
And
Michael Robinson
and Netflix original movies
and The Disaster Artist for your consideration.
A24
sponsoring
and we really took money from the Cosby Show. You know,
that was before we started. Let's not get into that.
I'm gonna explain it just to clear the air and move on. We're recording out of Jordan's apartment, and there is a DVD set of one of the seasons of the Cosby Show on the shelves, which Sam and I
for the
commented
record,
on.
I don't like this explanation because
sure, I don't think we're gonna really go down a charming avenue.
Let's not delve into
that.
I blame Sylvia. She was trying to separate the artist from the work, and it didn't. She's done with it now. I think we should probably throw it away.
Probably.
It's not great. Yeah,
just put it out.
It's not
out on the street.
As we're learning right now, it's not
those like Brooklyn hallway ones. You just put it out there, see who takes it.
I mean, I've gotten a lot of good books that way.
It's not a great conversation piece for your apartment. Anyway,
Well, it could be.
Well,
it could be a nice leeway into like
it's not,
what the hell's going on with Kevin Spacey.
So playoffs start this week.
Yes, playoffs of fantasy football.
Playoffs start this week, and our commissioner is in town for a wedding, and we're going to be watching some of the games with him on Sunday, which is very exciting.
That's great.
Commissioner Madison.
Dude, can I finally meet him this Sunday?
Have you not met Peter?
Coming to a...
I've met Michael Robinson, but not Peter.
You've seen him on... You've talked on Skype.
He talked about his oils and his sexual oils in the bathroom during...
Sure.
Yeah, that does not surprise. I mean, I don't remember that.
During The Bachelor. They
Oh,
also had a Bachelor Skype session.
Yeah, right. Oh, back in the day.
So I don't know. What else is up, Jordan? Interview us. What do you want to know from us?
So now Jay's gonna chill.
Hey, Jay.
Hey, Jay. Oh,
what is it?
some little doggy
You wanna
barks.
come over here? Come here.
What's up?
Yeah, come hang out.
All right. So if obviously these two guys are actors, we've kind of gone about all our New York experiences. Before you moved to New York, was there one thing that you wish you knew that you know now that you would tell people? Because you did the undergrad stuff. That's you did not have a normal college experience.
But it made it, I think, a lot easier of that, like, coming to New York City with like the structure of college.
Yeah.
Made it so much easier. Of like, we had a place to live. We had shit to do.
Yeah.
We had like a social structure, and acting school.
New York was scary insofar as it was a new place, and I was in college for the first time. But like then by the end, it was like, oh, I'm used to this. I know this place.
Yeah.
Now, would you only recommend NYU if you're going to stay in New York? Like, because because it makes sense if you're staying in New York, you're creating, right?
If we're giving college recommendations, right. Like I had a lovely time there. It was a great place.
Yeah. But
go there or don't.
Yeah, right. Like I'm not gonna say NYU's better than any other place.
Our only point was like, it moving to New York is a lot less daunting when you have the structure of college, which gives you a social structure. You're 18 and you're not paying for things.
Right.
Like it's funny that you ask us that. Like I think you had a much more daunting move to New York than
out
us.
of college.
Yours was way harder.
How about the job change? Remember
that?
Yeah.
Right? Like not knowing anything.
Like,
really.
I don't know how much you've talked about yourself in the previous ones, but like, so Jordan and I have known each other since we were little kids.
Yeah.
Since we were. How old do you think we were?
We started Indian Guides, which I refer to as the racist Boy Scouts, basically, where it's white guys with feathers in their hair.
Yeah, it's the. I think we can talk shit about this. Like it's the YMCA's version.
Is it still around?
No, they've changed it.
It's now called Y Guides, right?
Oh, okay.
Which
I don't know.
Is it still a little too close to Indian?
I'm sure it's gone now. I think it's gone.
Yeah, in the early '90s, the YMCA had its own version of the Boy Scouts, which they called Indian Guides.
And they made a movie about it.
They made a movie?
Jonathan Taylor Thomas with Chevy Chase, right?
That's not about Indian Guides.
Indian Guides.
That's just generally racist, that movie. I know what you're talking about.
I think it was an Indian Guides. I think it was an Indian Guide.
Anyway,
Whatever.
Anyway, it's father-son or father-daughter kind of thing. And Jordan and I were in that together. Our parents knew each other from their own careers, and I think maybe even so far back as college.
Yeah, both lawyers. Yeah.
And so Jordan moved to New York.
I remember the phone call. I actually remember because I knew two people that lived in New York, and you had Jamie Luther, who was kind of like this stage manager type, and then you had Will Sarratt. And I had seen Will Sarratt from Indian Guides to New York one time, and it was at the one act play festival at Broughton High School.
Yep.
And I called him, and I remember we had two conversations. The first one was like, "Hey, I'm looking for a place," and he said, "Oh, no, I don't know anything." And 2 weeks later, he called me, "Hey, my asshole roommate Brennan moved out."
I did not say asshole.
No. Sorry.
Hold on, Jordan. Hold on a second. Listeners, take your earbuds out. Brennan, come over here. We're going to talk to you for a second. Brennan, I love you. I understand why you moved out. And
we wouldn't be doing this if not for that problem.
I've called you an asshole for lots of other reasons, but like this is not one of them.
Yeah.
Anyway,
everyone else, you can put your headphones back in.
That's actually another thing about New York. Like, say if we didn't live together, we probably would have seen each other like once or twice.
We would have had a
drink.
beer once.
Right? Exactly. That's how because you don't have time for things.
No,
so I'm turning the tables on this interview
around
to make you the focus.
You have the floor.
I needed a roommate, and I knew you were moving, and I was like, Sam, crazy idea. Let's get this Jordan guy. And so you moved in, and
Sight unseen.
What was your thought? Like, oh god.
I mean, we needed a roommate, so I was like, well, if it's got the Will's stamp of approval, I'm all for it.
And Will's like,
I think I was like, don't put that on me. I think he's okay.
Yeah, sure.
And you moved here, Sam and I had 4 years of college, and
and we'd been living together for what, 2 years at that
2
point?
years. I had lived in that apartment. I lived in that apartment, I guess, 3 years. All things said, and we had our lives, we had jobs, we were acting in things.
Sure.
And you moved.
I went to Astoria first.
Out of nowhere, you just moved to New York.
Yeah.
Just
a job.
Kind of just cause took a weird job with a weird company.
Yeah.
You moved
for a headhunting firm, right?
Headhunting firm. I will not mention their name.
Yeah. You moved into our apartment, which I later realized it was a 3-bedroom apartment in the East Village. But later, upon Jordan and I's experience in the real estate world, realizing that it was a 1-bedroom apartment that was flexed into a 3.
Yeah.
It was a 1-bedroom with a pretty big living room, right? That was turned into 2 bedrooms.
Yes.
Right. Oh,
that just had a T-shaped wall put in to create 2 rooms.
And Sam had the radiator that was meant to be for a full apartment.
So in the dead of winter, I had my AC on because it was so fucking hot in my room.
Yeah.
Because you had no radiator in your room. There was no heat in your room.
The T-wall had put the radiator in Sam's room. Sam, in February, is sweating his ass off.
85 degrees.
Also, they're not meant to be bedrooms, so the windows looked right across to an elementary school.
It was like a Jewish school.
It was
a Hebrew school.
It was a Hebrew school.
There's a synagogue and a congregation on 14th Street, and there's a Hebrew school on Saturdays.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so those kids have seen things they shouldn't see.
Yeah.
I'm just
I don't want to mention names.
we all try. I think Sam and Jordan tried their best to not break laws.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Come on.
Yes, I'll give you credit. You changed shamefully under your sheets.
Sure. No, I had blind. You
did.
blinds.
You did. I think Peter didn't.
No.
So Jordan moved to New York.
Yeah.
Knowing 2 people, basically. There might have been somebody else, but basically you knew 2 people. I was one of them.
Yeah.
You had
Second phone call I had.
You had this weird job with a headhunting
It was
firm.
a normal job. Weird execution by the company.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean that to me seems so much harder. And I think you, based on our own conversations, I think you hit a point where you ran out of money.
Oh yeah, I had nothing. Had absolutely nothing.
Which bringing it back to what we were saying earlier of when are you a New Yorker is when you just sort of run out of money sometimes. I think is when you're a New Yorker.
Yeah.
But yeah,
yeah, your back needs to be against a wall. I think is New York. You need to be in some crossroads in your life to really become a New Yorker. I think. What am I doing with my life? You need to have that. I think everyone needs to have that moment. Should I still be here?
Yeah, you have to.
And you need to make a decision.
You have to hate it a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think that's when you're a New Yorker. Is when you're
hate it a little bit and then keep going anyway.
Yeah.
Instead of packing your bags and going somewhere else.
You have to make. Yeah, exactly. If you can't.
When you actively are I hate it and it's terrible, but I love living here and I wouldn't go somewhere else.
Imagine anywhere else. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean because there is a certain fix that you get, a certain. Every time I go to San Francisco now, I think of you, Sam, where you talk about how the people wait for the actual man to turn white, and it's people,
let's go! We got places to be.
Oh, for the walk sign.
For the walk sign,
I'll go home. Yeah. I'll go home, and I'll be waiting at a crosswalk, and everyone stops, and I'm there are no cars, you guys. We could just walk.
Guys, the point of this is to keep us safe.
All right. I'm sitting down, Jay.
The dog didn't like Sam walking.
Yeah, he said, "Stop, wait for the man."
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, we had a wonderful, easy, blessed,
transition,
sheltered time of it.
Yeah,
where our New York was south of 27th Street and north of 4th Street, basically.
Yeah, of when we came to NYU and we were freshmen and we were
Houston, I guess, really.
Going on the orientation tours. We were shown that we would live on between 12th and 14th Street, and we would have to walk to class on 27th Street.
Oh.
We were how will we make it?
We had to wake up that early to walk that far to class?
We like raised our hand and said, "Ma'am, I think I'll die. Like I can't.
Yeah.
I quit. I'm not an actor anymore."
No, thank you.
I mean, for real, when we were living on 13th Street and First Avenue, which is by the easternmost train stop in Manhattan, Michael, Jordan's best friend, apparently.
Mike Robinson. We keep in touch.
He lived off the first stop in Brooklyn. It's one stop away.
Off the Bedford L stop.
One stop away, folks.
Okay.
And we thought...
He would throw parties at his apartment.
And we were like, that's too far. I can't...
God.
We gotta go to Brooklyn?
I remember
This is so far.
One time, these two guys left the apartment and says, "No, I'm not doing it." It was like Halsey L or something.
No, I did. No, it was me.
That
It
was
was
different.
me. It was me. It was me.
Yeah.
It was a friend's going away party, and he was living off the Halsey L at the time. And I walked out of the apartment because I hadn't seen the friend in a while, and I walked down the stairs, almost got to the train station. I was like, it's like 10 o'clock already. And I walked right back up the stairs, and like we watched like fucking Life Aquatic or something like
House of
that.
Cards.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Not going to Brooklyn.
but of course now, like, we've basically lived off the Halsey L.
Yeah.
We,
I have...
Halsey J.
Well, the Gates J, which is the stop before. So
My-
we have.
Yeah. We lived off the J train. I currently live off of... oh boy, people are going to track me down.
You know,
Yeah.
this guy-
I'm gonna dox you. Will.
Yeah, they're gonna dox me.
Keep
I
the 329.
I live in Washington Heights now. Like
You live in Inwood.
I live in Washington Heights.
We got a New York battle going on.
Motherfucker, the like shops around us and the pizza places on our block are all like Washington Heights da da da, Wahi da da da.
Wahi.
Yeah, Washington
Wha-
Heights. No,
Wahi.
don't get me wrong, it's dumb. It's stupid.
That's like WeHo, West Hollywood.
WeHo.
Oh, God. My dad went to Los Angeles recently. He was like, they're all calling it WeHo now. And I'm like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
It's like Raleigh, North Carolina is doing that now. Raleigh, North Carolina has like names for its neighborhoods.
Oh no.
And I'm like, I miss when there were just like shitty
It was
patches
just like
of Raleigh.
downtown.
Yeah, like there was one good spot. Crabtree Valley Mall was awesome, and everything else sucked.
Yeah.
Waverly.
We had Waverly. You don't know the.
Let's
carrier.
talk about Raleigh some
Yeah,
more.
right. So okay, so Sam and I,
Raleigh. Yeah.
we had. I mean, the transition to New York was easy.
Yes.
The transition-
Well, I mean, easy as
Easy,
it is
question.
for any 18-year-old to leave home for the first time and go to college.
Yeah, in
you
a
know,
big city.
Right.
But like, as far as moves to New York, like it gets a lot harder than what we did.
Absolutely.
But as 18-year-olds, I would say you're more exposed to real life than most college experiences in a way. Like you get a more taste of like how to live in a city.
Sure, well, like
You know,
at 19, Will got mugged.
Yeah.
I love that story. He's had to say it so many times because I'm like, "Hey, Will, tell that one story."
We'll have a bonus episode where I tell that 20
It'll
minute
just be
story.
like,
Yeah, yeah.
"Hey, Michael and Brennan,
Yeah,
here's the story
exactly.
again."
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we didn't really have a college campus. We just like lived in a city and
Right.
took class.
Right. But again, like, my concept of what New York was expanded every year I've lived here. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, when we were in college, New York was a much smaller place than it actually
and
is.
the hard thing about the hardest thing about New York is the money. The hardest thing about New York is paying rent and the finances and like that everything's expensive, which was not a factor when we
Right.
came here and went to college, and which we found out afterwards.
Yeah.
Like it was sort of a second coming to New York of like having to be independent and having to like actually get fucking jobs
Yeah.
and pay for things.
And that's I think that's the era that I kind of came into of like some of your friends were now starting to like either leave or really started to make adjustments like moving out to Bushwick what is like I think and that's where Brennan moved that he decided and that's that's what created this whole podcast probably of between us three of that Brennan decided I can't pay rent anymore. I'm gonna tell my
Well, that Brennan was like, yeah, this is a wildly unsustainable living situation we
Right.
have, and Sam and I went,
yeah.
I think we're okay.
Theoretically, was pretty cheap.
And
I
then-
mean, let's be honest.
and
like,
then
that
in a,
was,
and then in a month, Sam and I were like, oh my god, we can't afford this.
I mean, honestly, we probably should have just moved with him.
Like
Yeah.
Brennan figured it out. We did not. We were like,
Hey, Brennan.
hey, Brennan, it's okay. You realized before we did that the East Village was very expensive for no reason.
Yeah.
But we didn't pay East Village prices. That was the other part. Like, we
Yeah.
paid $10.66, right? Something like that.
Yeah. But, I mean, which is not...
Roughly-
well, that's another story.
Roughly $1,000 each.
That's yeah. I don't know if it'd be interested in anybody, but yeah.
No,
it was
but-
hilarious. Maybe we'll get into it.
The ins and outs of real estate law and leases. Oh, let's dive into
They
that.
wouldn't send you the bill. you
So,
know?
okay. So Jordan moved to New York and was our roommate. We went through some exciting lease drama and real estate law, and then Jordan went into real estate.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure has probably been covered in previous episodes.
I don't think it had.
Okay.
Because
So Jordan went from headhunting to real estate.
But my question is, as the host of this podcast, you haven't discussed yourself at all?
Well, I mean,
Or I guess
partly because the thing that I've kind of realized in, like, even listening back to my first one, I felt like I was doing too much talking, because if they got to hear my voice every day, and then, like, everyone brings it up and, you know, blah, 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 that I'm here to display y'all, because you are the different voice from, you know, so, like,
but,
you know.
But also Mark Maron talks about his cats, you know what I mean?
Right, fair enough. Yeah, no.
These are the Jordan files, by the way.
The Jordan
Hey, do you
Files.
have a name for the podcast?
We don't
yet?
have a name.
I like the Jordan.
The Jordan Files.
I can't wait. If he calls it the Jordan Files, and then 5 episodes in, you see why. That's going to be great.
Right? You're like, oh, it all makes sense now.
So
or we make this the first one.
It could be.
I mean,
that's why I'm recording. Like,
exactly.
A few,
You do.
So Jordan moved from headhunting into real estate.
I got a printer out of the deal. Remember that? We all use that.
That was a great printer.
It was a great printer.
Great printer.
The headhunting printer you got, it was amazing.
Made copies.
Oh my god!
It
took up.
It did faxes.
It took up.
faxes.
It took up a fourth of your room.
Yeah.
It did.
It was like a queen size bed, the printer, and your
and a
suitcase.
Nautica suitcase.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was Sylvia's first rule when we moved in together. My fiance, by the way, who was on a previous podcast, but yes, no more suitcase on the floor.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, I think that's a fair request.
I feel like I remember the first time Sylvia came to our apartment and she saw that, like, we owned books.
Yeah.
She was like, oh, thank God. Oh, thank God you live with people who have books.
Also, like, we didn't meet Sylvia for probably the first year. I didn't meet Sylvia until Jordan and I did not live together anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
A while
We tried
after.
though. You took a few rain checks, to be fair. But not
to
many,
be fair.
not many rain checks.
To be
not
fair.
many rain checks.
To be
Not
fair.
many rain
But
checks.
also, like, she never came by the home we shared.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I didn't have much to show off. From
That's
the room,
to be
guys.
fair. He had the suitcase.
Yeah.
So Jordan gets the real estate job, and then we moved. The three of us moved to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
We live in Clinton Hill.
Uh-huh.
On the cusp of not on the cusp, late in the game on the gentrification, but still not as advanced as it is now.
Yeah.
We live in Clinton Hill
remember
together.
Bamboo Lounge going strong.
It's
No,
still there?
It's closed down.
Oh
Closed
no!
down.
Fuck.
It's done. It's done.
Bamboo
But like,
Lounge.
White
just
Castle-
north of Pratt.
White Castle
Across the
turned
street from
into
Pratt.
like
Oh.
luxury apartments.
Yeah, I know.
That White Castle creeped me out, dude.
It did.
It was a freestanding White Castle with a drive-through in Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn, on
Which is
Myrtle
like,
Avenue.
to see just like a freestanding fast food place that you could park at and like drive through, it's weird.
When my best friend Aiden came to stay with us, that first day I had to go to my show, and so he let himself into the apartment.
I found him in my bed, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, he was sleeping in your bed.
I was like, what the fuck?
But I remember it was great. I was like, so what'd you do to entertain yourself? He's like, so I went to that White Castle across the street, and I was like, how was it? He was like, not very good.
Had you ever been to a White Castle?
No. White Castle's in California, so it was like a big deal. It was a big deal.
Yeah.
Experience Khim's.
Exactly.
You know, go to Khim's.
Yeah.
Get some ram.
Or Bergen Bagel.
No, okay, go ahead.
I'm just doing a plug for Bergen Bagel, which is a great bagel place.
Please, Bergen. Like that's the thing I miss the most about Brooklyn is that Bergen Bagel is
so good,
fantastic. That said, Kim's Millennium Market can go fuck itself. I remember when the Key Food showed up in our neighborhood.
Oh, that Key Food!
And Sam and I always just wanted to like fucking Goodwill Hunting style.
Hold our Key Food bags up.
Just like pound on the window of Kim's Millennium Market, show our Key Foods bags, and be like, "Your days are numbered, motherfucker!" Like,
hey, here's some Cheez-Its. Couldn't get these here.
Kim's Millennium Market, like, it's the most overpriced. Like they got Whole Foods prices,
Right.
but like
with
24 hours. It is 24 hours.
It is,
It's 24
but with
hours.
bodega quality items,
like organic bodega inventory.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it was like you couldn't get a fucking soup with meat in it, but like you could get 10 different kinds of like is it Annie's? That's the like vegetarian organic.
Yeah.
That and
Annie's
like
vegetarian chili.
and you could pay $20 for it, but it was all we had until Key Food showed up and.
It was like all organic unless it was an Asian brand and you didn't know what it was. Basically,
Yeah, they had a lot of really good instant ramen options.
Yeah, they did have good instant ramen.
40, like you couldn't get like Cheez-Its, but you could get 30 different selections.
But they had kombucha on tap.
Oh yeah, they had like it was a bar. Like they had draft kombucha.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know what your run time that you're going for is, but
good.
tell us to shut up whenever.
No,
so
I like
we
the
moved to
natural.
Brooklyn, the three of us.
Yeah.
And was it you had switched to real estate before we moved to Brooklyn, but the move helped for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, I kind of want to go back to the point though of like the chances of us actually, number one, it working out that your roommate actually moved out
Was
when
when
I
you
moved
were
up.
moving in, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
And literally, it was a week. I think it was a week difference that I called him like, "Hey man, I'm looking for a place. Let me know." And he calls actually, blah blah blah. And I called Brennan. That was the funniest part. He gave me Brennan's contact.
Yeah, I was like,
Brennan
talk
was
to
the
Brennan.
point of contact.
And like, Brennan was like just pumped. Like
Yeah.
he was like, "Oh, thank God I'm out of the hood."
Yeah, I don't
You
need
know,
any- I don't need to find
like,
someone.
Like, thank God, yeah. And I remember like Brennan was like pumping me up to you guys, like, "Oh yeah, he sounds great," like it's gonna be great, And then we went out to drinks.
Yeah, the Belfry.
To go, yeah, that was great too. But yeah, no, and that's really what New York kind of teaches you is that it's kind of about the journey and that it sucks at times, but you got to just kind of keep going.
Yeah.
And then that's when it reveals, what you need to learn, etc. And then, so it went from headhunting, which turned out to be a disaster for, didn't love it, and people started being crooks. Don't want to say too many specifics, and then met an acidic Jew, Yoli, and basically started a real estate firm that hired friends, and my brother's still at, and a bunch of my friends are still at, and went from there.
I worked there for a period when
Will.
when I was tired of working in the restaurant I was working in,
and it was successful. You were there for over a year.
Yeah, it was. I mean, wait jobs in New York are fairly okay income.
Yeah.
But like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And so Jordan and I worked together for about a year, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
About a year. We worked real estate together, and Jordan moved in with Sylvia. Sam and I moved to our own apartment, our own sweet little, our own sweet little bungalow together. You and I, Sam.
We got to mention the Jordan to Mark transition.
Oh yeah.
To like having the younger model of the Stallings.
We just when we were before Sam and I moved to our sweet little bungalow, we still had the 3-bedroom. "Quote unquote."
Yeah. 3-bedroom. Sam, I still to this day can't believe you never got something. Like that shows how close that we were, though.
To explain
there
to
was
what
enough respect
to what Jordan's referring to,
yeah.
much like our first apartment, our second apartment was also not made for 3 people, and it was a 2-bedroom apartment with a big living room. And we were like, we're gonna put a wall.
We'll build a wall.
It's a flex.
It's a flex.
It's called a flex.
And Sam lived in that living room
for 2 years.
Oh, was it full 2 years that we were there?
We renewed the lease once.
But you weren't in the living room the whole time.
No, I moved. You were there for about a year and a half.
Till October, yeah.
Yeah, so about for 6 months I was in a bedroom.
So for about a year and a half, Sam just lived in the living room, and we were like, we're gonna get a wall, and then we were like, we'll get a curtain, and then we just didn't.
Well, because it was also like, I don't know.
This is great. I want to hear this. Like, what was your thought process?
Yeah,
My
Sam.
thought process for a while was, I'll get something, and then it was, I had like a lot of late nights, so there were many days when I just would come home later, and it just didn't feel like it was a necessity.
Sam was doing a lot of shows with the aforementioned Flea Theater,
right? And so, like, I would, especially on the weekends, I would get home very late at night when both of you were asleep or out or whatever.
So we never kept you up.
Exactly,
was part of it. Of
yes.
Like you lived in our living room,
right?
But we weren't like coming through,
right? And so maybe in the morning sometimes, but I was very good at being able to like block that out. You know what I mean?
It's insane that we live like that.
It is great. Like literally, there was my bed touched the back of the couch.
Yeah,
basically.
Like, and if we say huge living room, this is a New York huge living room. Like, it wasn't that big. Like, it just made sense where there could be a curtain.
Right. It's like, there could be a wall here. We could put a bed. We could put a bed behind it.
You would look at it and you could see how it could be made into a bedroom, and then we just didn't.
Yeah,
right.
We just
and
never
Sam lived like that for a year and a half.
Yeah,
but I think it shows like. We were great roommates together. Like, because we were respectful of each other. We, like, because even that, like, if Sam needed to go to bed, we would never, like, linger.
Yeah.
You know, we would never, like, it was like, okay, let's go to bed and go to our rooms, you know?
Yeah.
But the funniest part, I remember meeting at O'Hanlon's and Sam being like, no, fuck that, I'm getting the room.
Yeah, Mark's not getting the Mark.
When Jordan moved out and his younger brother Mark moved in.
To my brother Mark's credit, he offered the room, so that's how it is. Yeah, it wasn't a fight.
Sort of, and Mark got a curtain so that way, like, we wouldn't see his naked little body changing.
Yeah, right, exactly. I just changed behind the couch.
Sam, why are you crouching? Oh,
what's up?
Oh yeah, classic.
Yeah,
that was.
I could play video games from my bed.
Oh, what a luxury!
Remember Madden?
I can now too because I got a TV in my bedroom.
Oh, Sam, you got it made, baby.
Guys, can I show you something?
What?
Oh,
let's do visual stuff.
Oh yeah, I noticed this.
Oh,
Jordan, for the listener, Jordan is now pulling down the
projector screen.
Yeah, and showing off the projector that he has mounted to his ceiling.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I like it.
It's great for radio, dude.
It's great. Yeah,
visual stuff, great for radio.
Great for radio. What's like? What can you hook up your computer?
PS4 is connected. Yeah, we got every.
There you go.
I mean, we don't have a TV.
Nice, right?
This is 2017.
Yeah.
Who has TVs?
Who has TVs?
You can project it right on the doors.
But there's a crack, so that's
Fine.
But I think that the beauty of it is that we all came from, you know, privileged backgrounds, but even through that story, it's like us growing up, in a sense. Like, we really grew up.
Yeah.
Like, I think we did. Like, we all have, like, crazy stories. Like, y'all did plays, and I was just kind of this random foreigner that came into y'all's world, and, you know, I'm on Nick Rataco's flag football team, you know, and, like, and just created this whole life together that we had, you know, and it's awesome. Like, it's only in New York.
Yeah,
only New York is what could happen. Right?
It was a very it was a funny sort of set of circumstances that came together, and
crazy.
Yeah,
I mean what are the chances? I mean that's really what I want to get across in this podcast at some point of that, just how life kind of fits into place for you, and that how everyone has their own different kind of journey. You know?
It is funny how much of my life in New York has been stumbling into things, and and like, I mean, sometimes it's me putting myself in the position to stumble into that thing.
Yeah,
but it is. It's strange how many times it is complete coincidence, or just sort of like doing something on a whim, and then it turns out to be the main force of my life for the next year or 2 years. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think New York forces you to make those decisions quicker.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the thing, like, because, you know, you can go home to Raleigh, or I guess San Francisco is pretty big, but you lived in a suburb, right?
No, I lived in the city.
Okay. Never mind. Ooh. Terrible example. Ooh.
I was in the city proper. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
But anyway, difference between San Francisco and New York probably is that you're forced quicker to make those decisions. There's no comfort. There's no comfort, especially because you had your family there. You know, that there's very comfortable, but there's no comfort. You need to either bring something to the table or you don't, and you kind of, you know, those forks in the road come quicker than a lot of places. Like, we could have sold insurance in North Carolina probably. Yeah. You know, or done North Carolina theater.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
safe. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think part of it is the financial reality of New York is just that, like, it will be hard to pay for things the entirety of the time that anyone lives here, and that creates a certain, like, scrappiness and all of that, and also just, like, I mean, it's sort of bringing it back around of, like, my dumb idea coming out of college of just like, oh, this will be the thing. This will be the thing.
Yeah.
This will be the thing that helps like establish a career out of acting. And it's just like, no, in 50 different times, it's the thing you think will like put you in a place is not going to be the thing.
Yeah, and there's some higher thing
actually,
like that's determining.
And
fate,
so that like you've got
It's actually randomly this thing, or
yeah. You'll put all your eggs in a basket. You'll think like that'll do it, and then it's not, and then something else will show up in your life, and you're like, oh, this is actually what will sustain me and make me happy.
It's that random podcast he did in Jordan's apartment.
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
That Michael Robinson takes really offensive.
just
or Brennan
puts Sam and I on the national stage.
Brennan will take offense to it. Like
Brennan's gonna take this way harder than Michael.
Hey,
Brennan, it's okay. We love you.
Brennan, I saw Kate today.
Oh,
Wait, actually?
Yeah. I mean, we work together, technically. And she's in New York.
Really?
Yeah.
She's
Kate. Guys,
Brennan's...
Kate, yeah, the world knows about Kate. Yeah. Oh, we all saw Kate today.
Brennan's girlfriend and I work at the same company.
Ex-girlfriend or girlfriend?
No, current girlfriend. Come on now.
Come on, Jordan.
Come on, Jordan.
They're doing distance?
No,
No!
they're together.
They live in San Francisco.
Then what? How are you working with her?
I like how you
Because...
spike those levels, Will.
Spike those levels. Because it's a bi-coastal company between New York and San Francisco. And she's much more important at the company than I am. So she sometimes comes to New York to do her, like, big, important, impressive shit. And I'll be like, oh, hey. How's Brennan?
I had no idea that
She's
that was the
bi-coastal.
same place. No, I knew that. I kind of whatever.
This is really uninteresting.
This does not matter at all.
It could be.
It
You
couldn't.
never know.
It couldn't.
It couldn't. It really couldn't.
Really
And
couldn't.
objectively, it could not.
Just like
That's cool. Well, how is she?
She's great.
Wonderful.
Oh, it's so wonderful to see her.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad she's doing well.
Yeah, she seems to be doing well, Brennan.
Brennan?
how's their relationship? Good.
Great.
Good.
Oh.
I'm not. I mean, great. I can't
Whoa,
speak on this.
There's a backstory.
No! It's just wildly inappropriate to
Brennan
comment
will-
on someone else's relationship in a podcast recorded in an
Brennan,
apartment.
they think you're doing great. All right, don't. Yeah.
There's nothing to say otherwise. It's all wonderful.
It's all wonderful. It's just a weird thing to bring up on a podcast. That's all.
But different.
Sure. So you got us
Anyway,
here. Anything else you need
we're
from
good.
us?
Listen, we got some good time here.
How long
any
has
closing
this been?
thoughts? An hour and 20 minutes.
Oh fuck!
Yeah. No, but that's,
And it's all good. Don't cut.
It's all gold.
Don't cut a second.
It's all gold.
Don't cut me
all
saying
gold.
I don't think we'll have an ethnic genocide. Don't cut the number of phone calls.
The time we went to go get the food, and the
got
time
food.
the food didn't come.
We got the second round of beers.
Don't cut talking about things that only the three people sitting here could possibly know anything about.
Yeah.
Don't cut talking about
Don't-
somebody else's relationship.
Don't cut the part where I talk about where I was between Myrtle and Willoughby.
The exact location.
Do you know where that empty lot is? That probably isn't an empty lot anymore.
329
Yeah.
East 13th.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't cut exact addresses. Keep all of it.
Yeah. And Jay, you've been good, man.
Yeah, Jay's been wonderful.
Jay-
Jay the dog.
Jay the dog. Jay, Jay, we don't need to describe who he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jay wasn't sold
Jay.
on us at first.
Yeah, Jay tried to bite me.
But he has no teeth.
But
so
Jay
he doesn't
didn't have
successfully-
many teeth.
He's now chilling.
Oh,
No,
Jay.
he's pretty cute.
Yeah, he's
But
a
no,
cute
but I
dog.
think this was great. I mean, I think kind of what defines this episode is it's two guys that have lived in New York, and I think the problem with a lot of interviews that happens, it's like the people that are already, wholeheartedly successful, but like.
Don't worry, that's not us.
No, y'all are successful in a lot of because y'all are still here, and that's the beauty of New York too.
Yeah.
Is like if you're in New York, you're somewhat successful. If you can survive in New York, you're already beating, a lot of people. But but no, just hearing the journeys that y'all have had, and any closing thoughts that you guys can think of anything that we didn't get to your mugging story, but we'll do the special episode. of
Yeah,
it.
right. That's the Patreon special episode.
Yeah.
What
do you got, Sam? What's your closing
words-
thoughts?
words of wisdom from Michael Robinson.
Any
Yeah.
pearls from me? I don't know. No, I don't.
What have I got?
Things that I don't know. Just anything. Any thoughts? I mean, we can get into sexual harassment, but I think we'll get to like 3.5 hours here.
We talked about the Cosby Show DVDs that are prominently displayed in your living room.
I think more people who are more equipped to talk about that have probably talked about that with you so far. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
I think us are not the people to have an in-depth.
You mean three white guys from
this is us, and this is us is not what.
We should talk about the struggle for minorities in this country.
I'll tell you right now, we really shouldn't.
No, of course not.
But thank you for having us on, Jordan.
Absolutely, it's been great, guys, and I think we got some gold here.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you for coming back to Fort Greene. I know it's a trek.
Oh, it is. It's a long way home for me.
It's a trek.
It's about an hour for me.
About the same.
That thought process of getting on public transportation and knowing you've got to be on there for an hour, nowhere else, I don't think. I think that's special.
Shit, man, when we get home to Raleigh and I realize, everything takes 10 minutes.
Yeah. Can be on time everywhere.
I guess that's my advice: is don't come here.
Yeah, don't move to New York.
Why?
Why would you do this to yourself?
Unless your career is only really a viable option in New York or LA, then don't find your happiness elsewhere, folks.
Finance. So in Will's advice, I would never be here. So
yeah.
There you go.
Get out of here, Jordan.
It's been great, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
There we go.